Very good afternoon, very good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, good evening. We
Good
can hear
evening.
you.
We
Hi,
can.
Asim.
Fantastic,
Thank
fantastic.
you so
Hi.
much for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Really looking forward to it.
Thank you, thank you. And I heard from your staff today concerning your time. So be very mindful of that.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. No problem at all. Looking forward and happy to. I'll say a few words and happy also to take questions as well if participants have questions.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess we
Okay,
can start.
yes,
Well,
we can start.
join us.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Bernice Asien, and I am a lawyer. I'm the founder of Paradigm Stone Attorneys based in Lagos. I was a former mentee during the last cohort of this particular program. So we'll just rush right in since everybody we are in here. So, okay, about the program. Jiipcc Mentorship and Internship Program is a quarterly intellectual property mentorship program for law students, young lawyers, and intellectual property enthusiasts across Africa. Mentees are afforded opportunity to access valuable intellectual property advice, training, network, mentorship, internship, discussion forums, industry updates, and resource materials from experienced IP mentors. This program seeks to encourage the continuous intellectual property training, development, and evolution in Nigeria, Africa, and across the world. You can follow us and watch all our videos on YouTube and on Facebook. You just check for Jiipcc. The objectives of this program is to provide easy access to intellectual property, guidance, training, and resource materials for students, young lawyers, and IP enthusiasts across Africa. We also facilitate the dialogue and network among experienced and less experienced intellectual property practitioners and stakeholders. We also transform mentees into intellectual property mentors and leaders for the next generation of mentees. We also facilitate intellectual property mentorship, internship, scholarship, and intellectual property related job placement for mentees. So I'll be calling on Juliana to give us her presentation.
Okay. Thank you very much. Um, Thank you very much, Bernice. Thank you, Mrs. Uche. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So I'll just quickly share my screen and just make a very brief presentation. Um, Sorry, please hold on. Um, okay, so as Bennett has already shared, this is Gypsy Mentorship, and we are open to partnerships. This is the second quarter, and we've been able to mentor a level of mentor some mentees that are very grateful for what they've been able to get, and we are open to partnering with anyone that might be interested to partner with us. This is the third quarter, and we're starting a new session on the 16th of July. We already have people that have signed up for it, and we're looking forward to it. So we're open to mentorship for people who want to facilitate for excursions, for internship programs, resource materials, exchange programs, fellowships, scholarships, donation grants, and other options that might not be listed here. So we encourage everyone that there are several ways that you can partner with us. Mrs. Uche is here. She was a lecturer. She said as a mentor throughout this program, and we are so excited to have her. We have Senator here and a lot of people that came to mentor the mentees here. So if you're interested to partner with us, please, we would be interested. Over to you, Bernice.
Thank you so much, Juliana. So we'll move on to introducing our keynote speaker. Our keynote speaker for today is the Assistant Director General, Administration, Finance, and Management Sector of the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, Mr. Andrew Stein. Mr. Andrew Stein is responsible for the key operational functions that underpins WIPO's success and financial viability, including finance, program performance and budget, legal, information and communication technology, digitalization and data, procurement and travel services, language services, security and safety, and WIPO's premises and infrastructure. Andrew serves as the also serves as the secretary to the main policy and decision-making body of WIPO, that is the General Assembly and the Coordination Committee. Before joining WIPO, Andrew served as an ambassador and deputy permanent representative at the Permanent Mission of the United Kingdom to the World Trade Organization, United Nations, and other international organizations in Geneva from 2016 to 2020. Andrew started his career in the private sector by working for Deloitte in London, UK, and Sydney, Australia from 1999 to 2005, specializing in business and asset valuation, including intangible assets. He served as an economist and special advisor to the Treasury Committee of UK House of Commons in 2005 and 2006. He was appointed as senior executive in the corporate finance section of Angola American PLC in 2006. From 2008 to 2016, Andrew worked for the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in the London office and posted at the UK mission was posted at the UK mission to the UN in Geneva and to the Embassy of the UK to the United States, responsible for intellectual property, trade, and economic issues. Andrew is a chartered accountant and fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, a chartered financial analyst chartered holder, a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society that has a degree in economics from Gon Valley and Kairos College, Cambridge University. He speaks English and French. Mr. Andrew Stein, we are pleased to have you in our midst. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Bernice. Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I'm glad you've taken the slide down. I was slightly worried you're going to make me do a presentation looking at a photo of myself, which would have been slightly disconcerting. But thank you. Really good evening to everyone. It's a real pleasure to be with you. Juliana, thank you very much indeed for reaching out and for the invitation. It's great to be there. Great to be with you. I'm hoping that Toby will be able to join you. Toby from our office in Nigeria will be able to join you soon. As Bernice says, my name is Andy Staines. I'm the Assistant Director General at the World Intellectual Property Organization in Geneva. Now you'll have to forgive me. I'll have to leave your session ever so slightly early, that is it is not, I should say, it is not because Switzerland are playing Spain in the European Football Championships this evening. But that is about to kick off shortly, and so I say it because if you hear horns and cheering in the background, it may be less about my words and more because Switzerland have scored. But hopefully we will be able to watch a little bit of that later. Let me, at the outset, also convey my warmest congratulations to all of you on completing the Jiipcc mentoring and internship program. I've got no doubt it was a lot of hard work and a lot of engagement and time and passion. So a huge achievement, and let me commend all of you for your work and your participation in this program. These sort of programs are essential, and I think IP is becoming more and more important. And indeed, there is probably no more timely moment than to be engaging in intellectual property than now. I think the trends in the global economy in a whole range of countries, developing, developed, north, south, are towards greater use of intangible assets, towards greater use of intellectual property, not in an end in itself, but as a mechanism really to drive and underpin innovation and creation across all of our economies. This is, I think this year was the year where globally the value of intangible assets overtook the value of physical assets for the first time. And so therefore, I think this profession, this policy space, the work of all of you has never been more important. And of course, I think in the past year, IP shot up our agenda, of course, because of COVID. And I think the response to COVID-19, the importance of IP in actually driving the huge wave of innovation that we've seen that we've seen in response to the pandemic, in terms of the number of vaccines that have been created in record time and the essential role of IP in driving that, but also the role of IP and those of all of us really to ensure vaccine equity, and to ensure that actually now we can all work together to ensure that we can deploy and use this intellectual property in a way that helps us fill this gap between the need for vaccines and the production of vaccines. So there's never been a more important time in a way to be working in this field than now. If I may, let me say a few words about my organization, about WIPO. I'm fairly new here. I joined WIPO in January as part of a new team of 8 assistant and deputy director generals under a new DG, a new director general who came into office late last year, Darren Tang from Singapore. And we've really spent the last few months, our first few months in office, shaping the vision for what we would like to achieve over our term in office. And we've really focused that work on achieving a vision of really a world where innovation and creativity from anywhere is supported by intellectual property for the good of everyone. So really thinking about how we can move this organization in a way where, as I said, we are deploying IP, but we're using and deploying IP not in an end in itself, but really to support our innovative, our creative economies. Again, not an end in itself, but to create jobs, to create economic benefits, to create stronger societies globally in all of our member states. And to do that, we really see our mission as building the global intellectual property ecosystem that can underpin that can sort of help provide a system that will take us to a better and a more sustainable future. In particular, we're working in a number of areas, and I'm happy to take questions if there are particular areas that have interest to you. The first area we're really focusing on is on communications, because I think IP is one of those areas where it's quite technical, and it's rightly very technical, but that has also made it inaccessible to many people in our societies, and that's a real shame, because actually what you want is IP to really be seen as a tool that is not a tool just for the elite, just for academics, just for lawyers, but a tool that anyone that is creating a new product, that is innovating, that is writing a book, that is composing music, that is performing, that is designing a new handbag, designing a chair, whatever they're doing, they are growing an agricultural product that can benefit from IP to really derive value and to increase their income from using IP. So we're really focusing on first and foremost communication, reaching out not only to the groups out there that are already well aware of IP, but also to groups that actually are probably less knowledgeable about IP, sometimes even skeptical about IP. So youth, for example, and we've had long discussions about what youth, what age group youth should be, and I think we've come down to a group up to 35. But it's really a step to say, look, we're a UN agency, we're in Geneva, but we should really make more of an effort to reach out to young people and to explain what IP can do to them and why it's a benefit to them, to their societies, to their lives. The second is around bringing people together, and that is around, of course, this is a UN town, so it's around negotiations. It's around how do we move that framework on in a way that benefits everyone. But it's also bringing people together to solve or to use IP to try and solve some of the big global challenges that we see out there. And so an obvious one that we're working very hard on is climate change, for example. So climate change, a challenge where we see IP as having a real role. How can we support those trying to find solutions to the climate challenge, use intellectual property in a way that helps us collectively find solutions? And so, for example, in WIPO, we run a program called WIPO Green, And WIPO Green is a matching program. It matches those that have green technology to those that need green technology, and tries to bring together those two sides in a way where they can find partnerships to really disseminate and transfer that technology. The third big area is our services. And our services, as many of you know, cover a range of all of the classic intellectual property areas: patents, trademarks, industrial designs, geographical indications. I think there, part of our goal is really providing those efficient global services. But again, it's also, I think, about explaining and really outreaching to demonstrate the benefits from those systems. And again, in many cases, trying to broaden the users and those that see benefit from these systems beyond just those that currently use the system, but into new groups, into new constituencies. And so industrial design, for example, industrial design is a name we don't really like, because industrial design, you immediately picture a sort of big factory that sort of that has huge teams of IP lawyers. Design goes far, far broader than that. Design goes right the way down to a carpenter that is designing a new chair or a new desk. It goes down to a team of creators producing new shoes or new handbags, new trainers, new clothing, using designs, using traditional knowledge. So we really want to help explain and broaden the use of our systems beyond just the usual suspects into some of these new groups. The final strategic pillar is around development. The final area of focus around development, and really this is around our work to support developing countries, countries in transition, least developed countries, build their own IP ecosystems, their own IP frameworks to do all of those things and to support their creators and innovators. It's also around reaching into or working with our member state partners to reach into economies and talk to some of the groups in those countries that again have been perhaps not used the IP system as much as we might have liked. And so small and medium-sized enterprises, for example, SMEs, a big focus of this administration is really to work with our partner member states to reach out to more small and medium-sized enterprises, to help them plug into this IP system at a national level, at an international level, really to protect their IP and ultimately to benefit from it. I'm not going to say much more, and I'm very happy to take questions on any of that, on the work that we're doing. But let me just conclude by thanking you all very much again for having me, for listening to me. Thank you, or congratulations on the work that you've done in your program, the mentorship program, the internship program. I mean, this program is very much, if I may say, in the spirit of what we're trying to do, and we're a new administration, but it's in line with our thinking, which, as we talk about things like technical assistance, it's around moving technical assistance around just being a classroom-based discussion, where you turn up to a lecture, someone that knows lots, that has lots of experience, sort of talks at you for a day. You take notes, you enjoy the coffee. It's nice to chat to people, and then you go back to your jobs and often use some of it. You often forget lots of it. We're all very busy, and so therefore it's always hard to take that information and to deploy it in a way that's useful. What we're trying to do with our technical assistance offer is to really move this so beyond just training courses. So we're much more focused on all of the things actually that the science tells us is very effective in learning around how can we bring people to Geneva to work with our teams that can then learn and go back to their capitals and work in their capitals with the experience of working here. And I say that because it feels very congruent, very similar to the spirit of what you're trying to do, which I commend, which is really to, rather than sort of sending out textbooks and telling people to study hard, because I'm sure you've all done that for many, many hours, but it's also around actually putting people together, people that know, that have experience, that can share what they're doing, and learning from each other. And that's certainly a lesson that I think we take and we are trying to do here as we build our technical assistance programs going forward. So I congratulate you once again. Juliana, Bernice, I'm very happy to take questions if there are any, and I'll need to drop off at about 6 o'clock, but I'll pause there and hand the floor back to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. I really enjoyed listening to you talk about intellectual property and the role that WIPO is playing. So that is what we do here. We have people like Mrs. Uche, Mr. Folarin, Mr. Max, Mr. Senator. These are people that are very deep-rooted in the IP space, and they have been guiding the mentees. For example, Bernice was in the first quarter, and now she runs her law firm and she's into the IP space. So we have students, we have practitioners, we have different people in this space, and we are excited that we get to talk to you, and we are honored. Thank you, sir, for coming. So if anyone has a question, please just put it in the chat box and Bernice will read it out. While we are waiting for your questions, please, we'll be calling on Mrs. Uche to just give a few words to the mentees. Mrs. Uche is the she's a senior partner with Alukwano Yibode firm. She has been very instrumental to the mentorship session this quarter, and without her it would have been very, very difficult, but she always sacrificed her time to be here, and want to say a very big thank you to her, and would like her to say a few words to the mentees. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you, Juliana, and thank you. I think I will take a senior partner, but I don't think I'm anywhere near where, as you know, we are the biggest in Nigeria, if not, almost like competing in the African terrain. So, but I hope my senior partners don't, but I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you so much. So I've had an opportunity to listen to both students and professionals alike from multiple jurisdictions in Africa and elsewhere, and we all learned from each other. So like Andrew said, I think as first off, I will start by congratulating each and every one of you that were mentees for really hitting the ground running, because what you guys are doing, it's like, will help you in practice, because as students already, you could be in forums like this, discuss. I've listened to some presentations that are really good that I probably wouldn't have done when I was in their level. So it's very impressive, and I congratulate you all. Nonetheless, I will, as a first off, my advice will be, do not pass on an opportunity to sharpen your skill. So even when you become a lawyer, we keep learning. Like, I'm a great student of innovation. I always say that innovation, even for corporations that don't innovate, they die off. So as individuals, as lawyers, we keep improving on our skills. And if you don't do that or innovate and find new ways of doing things, you'll be left behind. So I will say innovate, that is key. Then I will say you must learn to turn your crucibles into good. I'll give an example of how I was Charles of Starbucks. A lot of us go to Starbucks not because you can make coffee in your house, but because of the experience. His crucible started as a child when his father found it difficult with all his hard work to put food on the table. So he made a decision then that he's gonna work hard. And when he succeeds, he's going to make other people feel important, even though his father didn't at the time because he was doing some menial jobs. So if you ask people that work at Starbucks, they will tell you sometimes he will come to a branch and talk to the manager. So he saw good in people and then doing good. So you must turn all of those, your crucibles, into good and not just dwell in them for it to kill you or to keep you in one place so that you become a failure. You need to rise to the challenge. And also you need to differentiate yourself, because everybody is a lawyer, but the lawyers that really, really are successful, I'm sorry, I'm using law because most of us are lawyers and I'm a lawyer. You need to really differentiate yourself by bringing value. I was taught when I was in school that you could go to your bosses and say, I need a raise. You can't just say, I need a raise because my colleagues in Farm A are getting a raise, they're being made partner. You need to have data to support it. You need to say, this is what I brought to the firm. This is what I'm doing. This is what I intend to continue doing. So if you make a good case, then you get what you want. So you need to differentiate yourself. Also, you need to allow yourself to be vulnerable, because that's the only time you really see your strengths. Some people think that, oh, they are Superman. That's the wrong way to start. Be vulnerable is not a bad thing, and then you get up again. And then focus on bigger things. Don't worry yourself over minor things. At work, become focused. You're doing your work. You're just not walking the corridor to make up the number. You're really hardworking and you're focused. You know what your goals are, and you're setting metrics to measure your performance. So don't allow small talks, get you down. Also, you need to be confident, because I believe confidence is indeed the first step to success, which means you're not afraid of fear or afraid to fail. You're really quite confident. So you need to believe in yourself. It's when you believe in yourself that others even have a chance to believe in you. And you need to make an impact in the society by doing those little things and stand out. And I will close by saying what the president of Harvard said during the 2021 annual reunion. He says, why waste a crisis? So, because if you see with what is happening with COVID, people are continuing to invent new ways of doing things. People are singing to us from their patios, from their windows, from their front porch. So you need to really do something. Just don't allow yourself to be left behind. I think COVID has taught us, like Andrew rightly said, that even this is the first time the IP, things like IP, things that are intangible, are really beginning to bring value, and people are beginning to see that value, because it's all about IP. Look at what is happening in social media with TikTok and everything. Brands are really moving, and then people are becoming aware the importance of intellectual property that they didn't know before, that the value of IP is actually more than the building and everything you have. So I think we need to really, these are the things you need to equip yourself with, and it's not, the list is not conclusive. We keep learning. As we are here today, we are learning. We keep learning until we die. I learned from them, mentees, and they learned from me. So that is my 2 cents. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for your sacrifice throughout this period. We are so grateful. May God continue to bless you. So I'll be calling on the next speaker quickly. I'll be calling on Mr. Max Ikongbe. He is the founder of Eva Law Associates, for him to also give his words to the mentees. He has also been a mentor from the first quarter to the second quarter. So we are so grateful. Mr. Max.
Juliana, if I may, I'll just excuse myself. So thank you all very much, and I wish you a very successful continuation. It's been a real pleasure to join you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew. We are so grateful. Thank you for spending.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
And you too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Mr. Max, please. Okay, so I'm not sure if he's having a technical issue.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, apologies, but a little bit so I have to just excuse myself. And thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. thank you very much again, Juliana, for putting together this mentorship program. I congratulate all the mentees who have gone through this quarter of the program and who have gotten to that end point. And just to let them, just to let you know, of course, that you're getting successfully to the end of the program. It's just to go into the next stage of the program. Because when it comes to your growth and development in the IT space, it's just going to be a continuous process from what you have had in the mentorship program. And what is important and what I want you all to take away from this mentorship program is the relevance of IT industry. And I keep saying that every time I attend the classes. I keep also commending you for always picking topics that demonstrate IT in action in industry. Because, like I've always said, one of the things I think my generation and older generations of the IT lawyers might not have gotten too well was situating IT properly in the industry. We always had IT as an abstract, legal concept that business people had to do. But I think if we, with what we have now and what is going on in the mentorship program, where we turn IT around and we are not looking at IT as a legal concept, but rather as a business necessity, so that we look at it from that viewpoint of a business necessity. It makes a lot more sense. It's relevant, it's played up, and businesses can easily see how IT alone can make or break their entire business model. So I would encourage you to go out with this mindset. Always watch out for IT, that's practical thing, not just in the abstract sense of things that is copyright, that is trademark, or that an infringement or not, but rather from the viewpoint of what in this business model dependent absolutely on IT and what steps to be taken, the most efficient way to protect that IP. Like I think sometimes the most efficient way to protect the IP is not the traditional textbook method that you have been taught. So, for instance, I had the case you just said to, and it's a textbook IT solution that people talk about. So essentially having an infringer, and rather than the infringer support, we looked at it. The infringer actually was someone who himself was not aware of the product he was selling or counterfeit product. Instead of that, it's just simple matter of we made him become a distributor of the company, and then now we just ensure we monitor and ensure that he is buying our product and is not mixing it up with some other counterfeit products as well. So like I said, this is the conventional approach of technically take the man to court, get damages from him, get an injunction, and all of that. But sometimes you work if you go to court, for instance, in Nigeria, we know that alone can take you 4-5 years and you are still stuck in court. But have a quick settlement, the man continues with his business, all his energy that was used to counterfeit products now use, in selling the original version of the product. So you just have to people have that kind of mindset towards IT improvement and towards helping your clients monetize their IP and build business models that opens up new avenues and channels of income for them. So thank you very much once more. And it's been a pleasure and a privilege. Like I always tell Juliana, I know she calls me a mentor on this program, as I do that, I've also been a mentee. And when I say that, I'm not joking, because from some of your presentations, touches on areas of IT I've not talked about in a long while, and it helps me to express my knowledge in that area. And then it happens sometimes that after I have the mentorship, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after, somebody's calling me up and asking me a question that's related to something you just handled in the mentorship class, and somehow because I just studied it or listened to it, it's fresh in my mind, I'm able to express and really new clients. So I think I also have been in this program. So I also congratulate myself, just like I congratulate all of you, and of course I congratulate Juliana and all the mentors who are so generously giving of their time and their knowledge. So thank you so much. And of course, I wish you guys all the best. Please reach out. Let's continue to keep in touch on LinkedIn. You have my number on WhatsApp. Let's, always be in touch. So thank you very much, Diana, and back to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Max. You are always there to give a helping hand, and I am sincerely grateful for everything that you've done and for your time. May God also continue to bless you, because nothing that we can really say can be enough. So I want to call on Mr. Folarin Aluko. He's the founder of Truman Rockwood Solicitors. He has been there right from the first mentorship program, and he's still here till now. So I really want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Folari. I don't know if he's still here. Okay, so it's like he has just stepped out, but hopefully when he's back, he'll be able to share. So I'll call on Mr. Mr. Senator Ihenyen, Infusion Lawyers. He's the founder of Infusion Lawyers. You're welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I'd like to confirm if everyone can hear me.
Yes, sir.
All right, great, great. So for me, I would just like to start by congratulating every mentee that has gone through this program successfully. When back in the days, not too long ago, people like me got interested in intellectual property. Apart from what our lecturers told us back in university, we never really had the opportunity of going through mentorship programs such as this. People who are practitioners in the industry, people who understand IP beyond the classroom. So I would like to emphasize that a program such as this put together by Juliana Imam should be taken quite seriously. And I'm happy, at least I was here the other day where I spoke about intellectual property and technology generally, and I could see the enthusiasm and commitment from everyone in the house. And that's very, very good. I hope that you guys are able to sustain that interest in intellectual property. And like Mark was saying, it shouldn't just be an academic affair. For me, I would like to say that perhaps one way you can do things differently for your generation is to see IP from a point of view of not just IP in itself, but IP as a means to an end. I find that in my practice of intellectual property, what has really generated value for our firm or our practice in IP is not in dealing with IP directly, but in using IP as a means of creating value for our clients. So I'd like to see that generational shift, because from where we started, from where people before started, there was a lot of emphasis on the IP itself. And the only things that seem to take people to the federal high courts would be issues around infringement of intellectual property rights and all of that. We're yet to deepen areas around how you can use IP to create value for a business, how you can use IP to, get funding and all of that. I'd like to see your generation, if mine is already too late, I'd like to see your generation take that aspect up so that we can use IP to create value in Africa. As you can see, Africa is arguably, as far as the GDPs are concerned, the poorest in the world. All right. And so I think that we sit on a lot of IP. Like the first speaker was saying, if you look at geographical indications, look at industrial designs, look at areas around even traditional knowledge, which is less known, you find that Africa has so much to offer. We only need to just focus on those things as well. So on that note, I would like to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to have been able to have that privilege to mentor you guys. And I'm sure that we'll continue to learn across other platforms, including the Juliana Imam Intellectual Property Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Senator. One of the things that I enjoyed the most about your presentation, aside from the fact that you spoke about blockchain and cyber and cryptocurrency, was the way you smile. You just make it so I don't know, so love, like you want to make everybody to just run towards it. And I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
So I'll just quickly call on Mr. Ayokunle Adetula. He's with Alukanoye Bode Law Firm. and he took trademarks with us, trademark registrations, trademark classifications, and it was so insightful. But I would like him to say a few words to the mentees today. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. You can unmute yourself, sir. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon,
It's a
sir.
privilege to be here again, and I want to congratulate all the mentees that have participated in this course. Important for me is the fact that I probably would not have been here if not that somebody opened the way. I don't know if she probably would not want me to to sound that way, but I mean, the invite was sent to my boss on this same call, and he said, "Oh, Ayu, I think you can do that. So go there and, I mean, do it." So, I mean, one thing that I think mentees should take very important is the fact that, like it or not, the boss you work with is going to be either a direct mentor, an indirect mentor to you. So it's in the journey, your professional journey, as it relates to IP. I would want you to be intentional. And when I mean intentional, I mean Staines was mentioning when he spoke earlier. He said this whole thing, this intellectual property thing, is technical, and that is the truth. We've had opportunities of having presentations at some places, and then when you ask people if they have questions, you just find that they don't have questions. Basically, not because it was not properly broken down, but because they are literally fighting to understand this concept of trademark as much as as much as you probably had learned on this mentorship course. Some people, it's still very abstract to them. So I want you as mentees to be very intentional with who you work with. That is going to help you in the long run. That is number one. Number two, Juliana did something with this mentorship thing. I used to tell people that I never did IP in the university. I met it in practice and I took it on. And it's because I have some good mentors who are able to lead me on that way. But one way or the other, I myself was also open to learn and give out to people. So for as mentees, you've come into the program to learn, to listen to people who are skilled, to people who have the experience. It's very, very important that as you soak up knowledge, you don't hoard it. I mean, you are not going to see the sides to knowledge if you hoard what you have. It is in giving that you get more. And finally, I think the last thing I'm probably going to say is Juliana has done something good. It's a bit related to what I'd initially said. You would have one or two friends that should be on this program. One of the best things that I've done is that I have some friends that help me give not just local, but international perspectives to what I'm doing. So, I mean, if I have a matter or if I'm thinking of something now, it's easy for me to pick up my phone and WhatsApp somebody in Switzerland, somebody in Netherlands, somebody in some areas of the world. And I said, oh, so what do you think about this? What do they do in your country? How does it work? So, as mentees, try as much as possible to get people also on this course, especially if you have the view that this has benefited you. Try and get some of your friends into this course. This is likely going to open their minds. What it then does for you in the nearest future, because I mean, this mentor-mentee thing is to help you grow. And as much as you look up to people, you should also have solid pillars around you that can also make you stand. With that, I want to wish you all the best, and hopefully in practice, we'll keep seeing and we'll keep assisting each other. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ayokule. Thank you so much for the practical advice. And thank you, Mrs. Uche, for the introduction. We sincerely appreciate you for bringing such a valuable resource to our midst. So going further, I would like to call on Mrs. Chinasa Uwana from Banwo and Igodalu. Thank you so much, Ma. She took us on media and technology law, and she's a very sweet person to know. So, Ma, thank you very much. Let me just ask you to unmute.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you, Juliana. Thank you, everyone. It's great to be here in your midst again. I mean, a lot of people have said so many things. There's hardly anything left for me to say, but I would still drop my 2 cents just before I leave. First of all, a big congratulations to all the participants in this internship program. Needless to say, it's been a great opportunity. Like some of the speakers who spoke before me said, we didn't have this kind of thing when we were, starting out in the field of intellectual property, and so when I heard about this and Juliana mentioned it to me, I thought it was such a great idea. And of course, I wanted to associate with what she was doing. And I'm also happy to see that my former boss is here, Ms. Uche Nwokocha. It feels good to be with her, so you know that you're doing the right thing, okay?
Thank you.
I would like to just say something, and this is something that has helped me along the way. That is that you need to build yourself up. A wonderful opportunity has been presented. I mean, at least the days I participated, I listened to some very, very interesting topics and all that, and I was quite overwhelmed at how much research and all that had gone into this. Also listened to some of the speakers that spoke as well. And it was a learning curve for me, apart from the fact that I was there to also, go through the papers and talk. There's a wealth of knowledge that has been shared during this period. There's a lot. The world is like your stage right now. Don't misuse, don't waste, don't let what you have learned, go to waste. Make good use of what you have gotten. But beyond that, develop yourself. Wherever you go from here, whether you're going to work for someone, whether you're going to do your own thing, build yourself up. What you know is yours. No one can take it away from you, okay? So you can work for someone and help to, build the person's institution or organization or whatever. But whatever you learn, is yours. And so you shouldn't be satisfied to just remain stagnant or remain at that level where you have been. Build on what you have learned. If you heard a little bit about artificial intelligence, do some more research about artificial intelligence. You learned about technology, research more, go for courses, look for short courses, paid courses, free courses, whatever it is, but build on what you have learned, because that's what's going to help you. I heard someone talking about standing out. That's sort of what will make you stand out. You cannot stand out if you remain stagnant. You cannot stand out if you keep on living on past glory. You cannot say, oh, I've learned this, I've learned that, I know about trademarks, I know about artificial intelligence, I know about technology, I know about data, I know about this, and then that's enough for you. There should always be this quest for more knowledge. What sets us apart? I keep on saying this, and I tell everybody, anytime I have an opportunity to say so, particularly to the young ones that are coming, that you need to be on top of your game. There are a lot of people that are playing in the same field as you are. You know, a lot of people that want to also be known as IP experts, a lot of people that want to be known as, you know, great lawyers, and, you know, and for those that are not lawyers, whatever field that you work in, what will set you apart is what you know. You know, it's not so much where you work. Where you work is important and it could give you a platform and leverage, but what you know is what's going to make you to be wanted. That's what's going to make people look for you. You know, there are opportunities that will go beyond where you work. You know, they're looking for someone to be on a committee, someone to work on some consultancy, someone to do something, be a part of, you know, people that are think tank, and so on and so forth. Someone to work on some new policy and all that. What will make them look for you is what you know, and what you know obviously will always shine forth in anything that you lay your hands to do. So that's what I want you to take away from this. We've been given a platform, we've learned a lot, you know, build on what you know, attend courses, read books, read blogs, you know, attend seminars, webinars. There are a lot of them going on right now. Attend conferences, you know, learn more, build on what you know, and put it into practice. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Chinasa. Thank you. So Bernice will just take over from here. She will be calling the mentees to just talk about their experience and what they plan for the nearest future. So over to you, Bernice. You can unmute yourself.
Okay. I'll be calling on Serese Yaji Ando to give us one or two things she has learned in this experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Bernice. Good evening, everyone. I'm so delighted to be here today. Okay, good evening to all our esteemed mentors present. Good evening, Mrs. Juliana. Good evening to my fellow mentees and to everyone present. The past 12 weeks have been very, very insightful and impactful in the area of IP. So for me, it has been a defining moment. So before now, I had literally little or no knowledge at all on IP. So this year is one of those times where I actually decided to look into my career as a lawyer, and then also develop myself in that line as well. So I was privileged to attend the African Young Lawyers Conference earlier this year, and I heard Mr. Mark speak on IP, and then I developed interest, and then he also mentioned Mrs. Juliana. I linked up with her on LinkedIn, and then I'm here today. So I've really, really gained a lot from the program. So every week has been challenging and very interesting. So it's like going to the market, and then you have an idea of something you want to buy, and then you go there, you are given a lot of options, a lot of varieties. So you don't really know where to choose from because they are all good and you like everything that you've been shown. So that's where I am now. I am really grateful, Mrs. Juliana, for putting up this program for people like us, you know. And I want to say a little about Mrs. Juliana. She's one of the most humbling and calm personalities I've met. So there are those moments where we'll not meet up with submitting assignments on time, you'll not log in on time and all, and then maybe you just send her a message or an apology and all, and she's like, oh, that's fine. Just like that, you expect her to react in a certain way, and she's just calm. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you for the knowledge impacted. Thank you, especially Mr. I really appreciate this opportunity. And from here, so I have confidence to pursue a career in the field of IP and to do a whole lot that I might not be able to say here. So just watch out for me in this space. Thank you so very much.
Oh, wow. We'll definitely watch out for you. So I'll be calling Rebecca Enya for her presentation, please.
Hello, let me see. Can get it. Hello, good evening, Ms. Juliana. Good evening to all the mentors and my fellow mentees. First of all, I want to say a very big thank you to Mrs. Juliana for putting together this initiative. And of course, thank you to Bernice. She was the one who invited me to apply for the mentorship program, and I'm really grateful for it. It's been an amazing experience. Personally, I didn't get the opportunity to do intellectual property in the university. I chose other courses. I have no reason. I don't know why. But when I got into law school, I got interested in, I've always been interested in technology law. Then I began doing my research, and I realized that there's an aspect of technology law that is largely ignored, which is intellectual property protection, of course. So that's aroused interest in intellectual property for me. I began studying, and along the way, I fell in love with intellectual property, and then I discovered WIPO and took WIPO courses. So it's just been an amazing journey coming. Then this mentorship has been the biggest step for me, honestly. It's so different from taking an online course. It's so different from reading a material. Like, it's practical, hearing people who are doing this in real life and not just writing materials, tell you their experiences, tell you how it really works in practice. It has been amazing. I've been exposed to new areas in intellectual property law that I never envisioned, like the blockchain technology, intellectual property. That is of particular interest to me, and I'm definitely going to build on it. Counterfeiting, anti-counterfeiting. I didn't think I would be interested in that, but surprisingly, I am. So I want to say a big thank you, Mrs. Juliana, again. Earlier this year, I started my platform, Legal Tech Power, before I joined the mentorship program. And what I do is I educate technology enthusiasts about intellectual property, and also small businesses on intellectual property as it affects branding and business generally. But now I feel like I would have a more definite focus in my practice, a more definite focus in teaching others. Now I feel like there's more value to offer these persons. There's more value to offer via my platform. And to be honest, Ms. Juliana, I'm hoping I'll be able to come back again as a mentee on this program, maybe in another quarter, even if not the next one, because I feel there's a lot more to gain. There's a lot more that I need to get used to and be around the community. Hearing other mentees talk, it's enlightening. Then getting corrections from the mentors, hearing them give their presentations is really, really enlightening, and I enjoy the atmosphere, I enjoy the knowledge, and thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you for showing me your face too.
It's okay. We'll move over to Dawn Osionwa to give her presentation. So if Dawn is not ready, let's move over to Brandon Omodi.
I don't think Brandon is here.
Okay, then Adetola Jesulayomi.
Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone.
We can hear you.
All right. Good evening, everyone. And so to talk about my experience, wow. I can't believe that I'm done with this internship, because it sounded like, when I started, it sounded like, oh my God, 12 weeks of intensive writing, 12 weeks of research, and all of that. Well, I'm done. So it has really been an amazing experience, to be very honest. Like the first mentee said, I was expecting to learn more about intellectual property. Like, okay, like, I mean, just intellectual property rights, let's go and learn more about it. But from week 1 till this very point, I have learned much more than intellectual property. Like, I have learned about blockchain, I have learned about cryptocurrencies, I have learned about NFTs, I have learned about music law, I have learned so many things. Like, I'm so happy, to be very honest. Like, I've learned a lot more than intellectual property. And I just want to say a very big thank you to Mrs. Juliana for organizing this program, for allowing mentors and mentees to come and talk about intellectual property, and even much more than intellectual property. And also thank you so much for the mentors, because for them to create time to come and teach us about intellectual property and all that workings of the legal profession. I just want to say thank you to all the mentors, and also to my fellow mentees. So I have learned a lot from you guys, so thank you very much. I mean, coming as a law student and seeing so many lawyers and people that have already established themselves in their space, I'm like, wow, this is an amazing experience. So thank you guys very much. And also I want to say one more thing. I realized that this writing of a thing, like putting out content, writing articles on specific intellectual property topics every week, has enabled me to read more and actually put myself out there very well. Like, people, if I put out my work now, people actually know that, like, I always come to talk about intellectual property or something like that. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity, because I have been able to put myself out there more and actually impact other people to learn more about intellectual property and all of that. So thank you, Mrs. Juliana, very much for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone. So, and I'm sorry I cannot show my face. So, so yeah, thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Adetola. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll be calling on Paul Atamewa. Oh, he's not here.
Okay, I don't think
Daniel.
Paul, we have Daniel, yes.
Daniel.
Yeah. So good evening, everyone. Yeah, it's great to be here again for another closing ceremony. First, I want to appreciate our distinguished mentors. First, our host mentor, for coming up with this wonderful platform that has enabled sharing of ideas around intellectual property. It has been awesome. Then I also want to appreciate our esteemed mentors who have always fed us every week from their wealth of experience. I mean, for me, you can't get it anywhere anyway, because the experience is just the experience. And I also want to appreciate also external mentors too, who have been coming here to explain intellectual property. For me, I've learned a lot, a great deal. I was in the first quarter session. I actually decided to join the second because there's so much to learn. I mean, for the weeks I've been on the call, they've been so much to learn, actually different from the first quarter. And looking at it, I think in the first quarter, we didn't have, we were not privileged to have Mrs. Mokocha as part of our mentor. And now on the second quarter, we have, and then possibly the third quarter, there will be other mentors too. So yeah, so for me, it has just been an awesome experience. Intellectual property for me, it has landed me, let me call my first intellectual property, should I call it brief or so? Yeah, because I was instructed to look at a tech agreement. In looking at tech, I was able to spot out some stuff around the intellectual property that I would not have been able to if I was not in this platform. And well, the tech guy, we got talking and was like, okay, I was going to do certain things for him as regards to intellectual property. I'll be able to write articles like 2 on intellectual property, even on my social media platform, which I use, Facebook. I'll be able to put out content on intellectual property. So I hope to do more. I hope to actually do more in this space. I hope to learn more. Definitely, and with this, I'll be able to anchor my first session on this space and build confidence, upskill my skill build, how do I put it, just to improve in every area. And also, I also take to heart all that our mentors have said today and ensure that I apply them to stand out as a practitioner, legal practitioner. Thank you so much to all our mentors, and thank you to our host mentor. Very, very grateful. Very, very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you so much, everybody. So I'll be moving to the announcement.
Don has not made a presentation.
Okay.
Maybe you call her again.
Hello, Dawn. Are you ready to talk now?
Are you ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm sorry I couldn't come in. I had network issues, so I was going off and on. So, for my words of appreciation, first off, I want to thank Bernice. She was the one that actually introduced me, or I don't know, she was the one that prompted me to apply. And I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity. It was really nice, and like an opportunity to meet like highly placed people in legal profession.
Hello, Dawn.
And I'm really grateful to Juliana. Can you hear me?
Yes, there's a slow. We can't hear you.
Wow.
Maybe because
Can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you now.
Okay. I said I want to start off by thanking Bernice for introducing me to this mentorship program. She was the one that actually prompted me to apply, and I'm really grateful I did it because I never really had a first-hand intellectual property experience. I didn't offer it as a course in school. I didn't know it was something I was going to be interested in. But over time, after my call to bar, I developed interest in it. I started reading a lot about it, but then it was really, really vague. But coming for the mentorship program, everything came to life. Like, it was nice. I was able to come up with reports for every week that we were asked to write. And some of the things that I wrote about, I was really surprised at myself because I've always been interested in business, but I didn't just know how to like marry it into the whole idea. But then coming here, it was really, really nice. I learned a whole lot, and the mentors, they were really amazing. They helped us spot some of the areas that we needed to develop on and give us reference on stuff we needed to read on. And the tutors that we got that talked about a whole lot on sports, blockchain, and entertainment, and a whole counterfeiting, a whole lot of areas. In fact, it was really, really amazing. It was value packed. I think we got more than we bargained. Personally, I got more than I bargained for. I didn't know I was going to get so much value like I got. And I'm really grateful to Miss Juliana for an opportunity to learn, and also to the mentors. I'm really, really grateful. And even my fellow mentees, like learning from them, every of the articles I had an opportunity of hearing about or listening to, they were always amazing. And also Miss Juliana has really been an amazing thing. Like she's somebody that is really patient. I don't know how she does it, but she's just nice and patient with us, coming through, even for our submission of our tasks and all. She has this subtle way of reminding you and telling you to get stuff done. I really commend you for that, man. Thank you so much. It's not so easy to find people like you. Like, your kinds are very rare, and I'm grateful. And moving forward, I was able to start off something, implement some of the stuff I've learned about intellectual property on my own, and I'm hoping in the next 6 months I'll be able to put out content and start up my career, carve out a niche for myself in intellectual property. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawn.
Thank you so much, Dawn. So we'll be moving to the announcement. The next mentoring session comes up.
I'm so sorry. Can I
16th of
just cut in? Can I just cut in
okay.
and say that please excuse me
Yeah.
to sign off? Yeah, because
Yeah.
I say that you guys are doing your usual housekeeping. So thank you so much for having me today and all the best for your future.
Thank you so much, ma.
All right, thank you. Bye.
We love you. Bye.
Yeah, bye, ma.
Bye.
The next mentoring session comes up July 16th. We encourage that you you send your CV to jiipcconsult@gmail.com. We are also interested in partnership, facilitation, excursion, internship opportunities, resource materials, fellowship, scholarship, donations, and grants. So we look forward to any ideas from you. Thank you so much. So I'll hand over to Ms. Juliana to round off.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bernice. Thank you for an amazing anchoring.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, everyone who has stayed till this time. Thank you, Mrs. Chinasa. So aside from just coming to talk, whenever she's chatting, she's always really, she has a way of making you feel like you're her friend, you're her true sister and all that. And I would like to encourage everyone, if you need to talk to someone, Mrs. Chinasa is there for you. You can also talk to her because she's someone that will listen to you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for submitting your presentations. Thank you for showing your face once in a while. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for joining both the first mentorship session and the second one. And thank you also for volunteering to be a co-anchor. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you for showing us your face today. Thank you for submitting your assignments also, because you're very consistent. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ayokunle. Thank you so much for your presentation. As I said to that day, prior to that time, even with the practice of IP, there were still some things that I did not know about, and it was from your presentation that I got to hear it. So thank you so much, Mr. Ayokunle. Thank you, Senator. Thank you for the blockchain, the passion with which you speak about blockchain, you post about blockchain is just amazing, and then your smile is just what used to steal everything up. So thank you so much, Mr. Senator, and we hope that we'll be able to hear from you in subsequent sessions. Thank you, Mr. Joseph. He was an anchor for the first mentorship session. Thank you again for coming. Thank you, Mr. Max. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for being so open to share. Mr. Daniel said that he actually saw you in, I think, so yeah, the Court of Appeal. That was last week. Thank you so much for always being there for us. And if you also need to talk to someone, Mr. Max, Mr. Ayokunle, there are people that you can reach out to and they will listen to you. Thank you, Christina. She is an anchor also with us, and she was a mentee for the first quarter. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sewese. Thank you for your consistency and for always submitting your assignments and for always reaching out. Thank you so much also for showing your face. Thank you, Adetola. Adetola is a 300 level student, and she was the person to write about space law, blockchain, all the weird corners in IP. She was the one going to fish it out. Thank you so much for everything. I would like to say a very big thank you to everyone. I'd like to say a very big thank you to everyone. I'll also say that if you know anyone that might be interested in joining the mentorship session for the third quarter, please invite them. And if you're also a mentor here, would also ask that you please give some of your Fridays for mentoring for the third quarter. So would really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing time. If you need anything, and I think I'm going to give the mentees a gift. So I used to have, thank you, Mrs. Chinasa. So I used to have a course on how to copyright, and it was actually paid. So it's a paid course, but what I would do is maybe I would send you the link so that you can watch it and know how to copyright for yourself, just in case you don't know how to do that. So I teach how to do the online and how to do the offline registration. So I'll send you the link You might have it for about a month, and after that, I will close the link. But it's something that I will do for you people so that you can use that to start. Thank you so much. Have an amazing weekend and have an amazing practice. Thank you and bye. Bye.
Bye, Miss Juliana. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you.